Hello, 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 hello. How are you doing today or this evening? It is May the 1st, 2024, and I am so excited. It's around 7 o'clock on the East Coast. I always say that because people come from, different kind of zones. And I just like to tell you that I'm so happy that you're here. I'm glad that you decided to join us tonight. Do I seem happy? Happier than normal? Well, there's a reason. Let me tell you, before I get into the show, you know what we have to do. First, you have joined the Power of Transformation broadcast. And I am your host. I am Dr. Paula Obi. And honey, we're getting ready to take this train. It's getting ready to leave the station. And we have a lot of inspirational conversations and wonderful guests and all kinds of topics, inspirational topics. Did I say that? And I'm just so happy again tonight to be with you. Now, before we get started, we need to text our friends. We need to tag them. And if you have time, and only if you have time, you can give them a call, but the texting and the tagging works well. I want you to tell them that the Power of Transformation broadcast is on with Dr. Paula Obi, and we don't want them to miss it, do we? Now, when I tell you to do it, I do the same thing. So we're going to tag a little, text a little, and we're going to be right back. And I will see you soon. I am so glad that you are back. And if you didn't get your texting and your tagging done, don't worry about it. There's going to be plenty of opportunities for your folks to join us. I want to talk to you about tonight. Tonight, my special guest is someone I've known for a few years. And you know how I always say that this is going to be like a very special guest and the best show ever. And I say it all the time. And people tell me, well, you say it every Wednesday. And I'm like, yes, I do. Because every week is special, but this is a real special guest. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, and then we're going to introduce her to everyone. And let me tell you, a few years ago, I made some major decisions. And one of the major decisions was to start a job, a temporary job, that eventually turned into a permanent job. It was a job that I didn't necessarily think I could stay on because of the atmosphere. But if I'd left, I would not have met this young lady here. So let's talk about her. Her name is Regina L. Nickson. Actually, her middle name is Marie, like my mommy's. But Regina L. Nickson, and the tagline that we chose for her, I think is perfect. She says, my testimony is real. We have a lot to say. So let's go ahead and introduce to some, present to others, my friend, Regina Nickson. Look at all of the applause you're getting. How are you?
I am doing fabulous, and just so happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here. But you're looking kind of, good there. Looking all refreshed and happy and relaxed. And
I'm going to give all credit to God.
Yes.
And say this is His grace and His mercy.
Absolutely. What a great thing to say.
Yeah, this is His grace and His mercy. And this smile on my face is not only because I'm so happy to see you, and I've missed you so much, but just I'm just sitting in His grace and mercy. I can't say it any simpler.
And His obedience. You were obedient.
I was obedient, and that was hard. I was obedient. That was out of my comfort zone to do some things so that I could be in a place to listen.
Yes. So we're going to jump into that. We'll talk about the years I've known you. Let's just talk about that. The transformation comes. The show is based on the power of Romans 12:2, where you need to be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yes.
And Regina, how many times have you had to renew your mind in this journey since I've met you?
Yes. It started when I met you. I was in a renewal period. I was in a a period of transformation, personally and professionally.
Mhm.
And again, it required me to be obedient to God and to pray and to listen and to surrender. And when I did that, and I tell people all the time, when you completely surrender, and I mean, you can't worry and then say you have faith. They don't coexist together. So, but when I truly said, God, it's your way, your
Yeah.
will, and I just completely let it go, um, it opened a door. It opened several doors. One of the doors was I met you. And you know, sometimes we don't know the power of people in our paths.
Mhm.
And who knew the day I met you at work that we would begin a beautiful, beautiful friendship that has become like family.
Yes, yes. You were my first supervisor, full-time supervisor in that entity.
Yeah, yeah,
And you had this saying that when I wore my pumps and went down the hall, something happens.
yes.
I've been,
You
I've been waiting
transformed.
to transform. My pumps were transforming. Well, I wore them yesterday and today. And I found you to be someone who was so encouraging and collaborative. So when we worked together, which
Mhm.
is weird how that all played itself out,
Right.
it was meant to be. It was one of my first feelings of this is a God thing.
Yeah, yeah.
This is truly a God thing. And once you and I got together, I felt like we were walking along the same path.
Right, right.
And every morning at 9 o'clock, we did what?
We would have coffee and conversation. And that
Coffee and
was,
conversation.
yes. And we would sit and the agenda, we would go over our agenda for the day, but it always turned into a check-in
Yes.
where we would check in with each other. We would check in to see how we were doing, how things were going, whether it was with our family, work life. But it became just a really pivotal time that I don't think we both knew that we needed. And it allowed us to kind of navigate through some challenging times,
Mm-hmm.
to have those moments to connect. And we as women, we take on so much that sometimes we forget these personal connections is really critical to, you know, us transforming and just surrendering and just being still. And
Yes.
sometimes we get so busy that we don't even take advantage of these relationships, these
Right.
daily interactions. And my daily interaction with you helped me personally through
Wow.
some really dark times. You know, navigating through COVID,
Yeah.
navigating through my dad being sick. My daughter was ill. My husband was ill. These were like critical times with me. And you helped me through those times. So I watched our friendship transform from colleagues to just friends to what has become family.
Yeah. We were a great support system.
Yes, yes,
And
absolutely.
everybody could see it.
Yeah. You know
Everybody could see it.
what was beautiful about our friendship is that, you know, sometimes we get these places where folks um, they have their own stuff, their baggage, insecurities, whatever. And in order to make themselves shine, they push other people down.
Right. Right. Right.
We were kind of in that environment.
Yeah.
And what was beautiful about you was that you were Dr. Obi and nobody knew you were Dr. Obi.
Yeah. I sure was. And
Yeah,
what was funny was the way they treated me before they knew I was Dr. O.
right, right, right. And so what was beautiful about our friendship is that never once did you um, you know, make me feel inferior or make yourself feel like you were above me or anything. It was just a beautiful, natural, it was just organic the
Yeah.
way it happened and very genuine.
Yeah. And I didn't even want to bring out all of my titles. It was your fault that I
I
had to
said,
bring because you were like, we're not doing this anymore. You were gonna tell everybody who you are. And it took a while because I really wanted to be the person and not the title.
right, right,
We were surrounded by so many people who were a title, but not really the person that the title really meant to be. I
correct,
wanted it to be the other way around.
right,
So
right,
when you found out I was Dr. Obi, you'd be like, I knew there was something that was different about you.
right, right.
And I think when I think about like the way you look now, beaming, just beaming. And when I think about that, I know that it took a lot of courage for you to get here. I'm going to let
Yes.
you tell your story, but this whole transformation is about courage.
Yeah.
About courage.
I had to make a professional decision that was not one that I took lightly. Sometimes we get in our professional spaces and we become very complacent.
Right.
And I loved my job. I loved what I do. I loved the people, my staffing team who I worked with. But there was something in me that said, you need a little more. And I didn't know exactly what that was. So I fasted.
Yes.
And I prayed, and I was really diligent on that fast. I gave up sweets. And if you know me, I like a good cupcake and a cookie. But I was 30 days, no sugar. And I was very obedient and listened and prayed. And in that time period, some things happened that were very eye opening. There are times where you don't feel like you're valued or appreciated. And I said, you know what? Let me just see what else is out there. And someone said, hey, there's a position open. Why don't you apply for it? I did. And went through the interviewing process, went through the 2 interviews and was offered the position. And it took a lot to step out of my comfort zone to go into a different space where I would have to learn different things. I would leave my friends, leave my family. And it was scary.
Yes.
It was scary.
Yes.
And I said, God, I have these feelings and I just need you to remove whatever needs to be removed. And if this is your will, just make it okay.
Make it okay.
And it was like a cloud was lifted and I was okay with it. Now I grieved my friendships. I grieved leaving my team, the wonderful women that I work with and our sense of family. But stepping out of my comfort zone, as scary as it was, because I'm not a person for change. Change was ugh. But when I did it and I got there, it was so refreshing. And it was refreshing because I was greeted warmly. I was in a space where I was valued right from the door. People were so collaborative, and I didn't feel like it was a mask. 3 weeks later, I still feel good when I walk into the space. There's some changes. Yes. There's a learning curve.
Yes.
But I feel good. I feel good. And I didn't know I needed that. I didn't know that I needed a shorter commute.
Saving money and time.
I didn't know that I needed the hybrid option to be able to work from home 2 days.
I'm rolling my eyes.
Getting home earlier, leaving a little later were just some pieces in my life that I didn't know I needed, but God knew.
Wow.
He knew.
You did not know, but God did.
Because if I listened to what I wanted to do, like I already said, I'm a person that wasn't about change. So I would have been doing the same old thing because that was comfortable for me. As dysfunctional as it may have been, I was okay with just kind of going on. And he knew different.
He did. I'm probably I'm just so proud of you. First, just let me say that. I am so proud of you. You are beaming, glowing. And I understand what it's like when people say you need to step out on faith. And you need to be obedient. And you need to do it this way. The problem with those kinds of statements is we think it's going to be easy.
And it's not.
It is a stretching of you, your mind, your emotions, your everything. It just stretches you. And you're looking towards heaven and you're looking to God and you're going, I'm going to do this, but you're going to have to stay really close to me.
Yeah.
And I watched you move and navigate to your yes.
Yeah. And in that time period, I remember looking at God going, me? Because it was not only one job offer, it was two. I had 2 job offers and I'm going, me? They're trying to match my salary and they're making all these accommodations. And I'm going, me? I'm deserving of this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he said, yes,
Yes.
you are.
Yes, you are. And you know what's really interesting? You opened that door so wide. I was almost getting ready to walk in that through that door. The reason so many of us don't think we're worth anything or worth it or worth whatever, finish the sentence, is because someone tells us that we're not.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you keep hearing that same message, not only from the same person, but from various parts of your life, you begin to own that. And I know there was a shift where I had to stop buying into the narrative.
Yes.
I said, no, no, ma'am. This is not who I am.
Yeah.
Um, I'm Reggie and Dorothy's child, and I'm better than that, and
Right.
I'm more than that. And so when you start to believe, you got to shut off the chatter.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got to really
And the
shut off.
chatter needs, you have to shut it off from yourself
Yeah, yeah,
because once you shut your mind and say, I don't believe that anymore,
right.
then the nonverbal language, even when someone says it, you're looking at them like, really?
Mm-mm.
And I'm very, somebody said, so people say things to me sometimes and it just tickles me. And somebody said this weekend, and you and I can just talk.
Right,
They
right.
said, you are so dramatic. And these eyes rolled around. And I'm like, yeah, but it makes me happy.
Yeah, and I am.
Right. So maybe you need a little drama in your life and maybe you'll be a little happy because it wasn't
Right,
that drama. I was just really just being all of God, who God
right,
created me
right.
to be,
Well,
versus whining and complaining
right.
and all that other stuff.
Well, you were talking about, that I look happier. It's not only work related; it's just a peace in life.
Yeah.
Um, I have I'm not going to say mastered, but I have spent a lot of time with self care and really just looking at spaces where I can just kind of, take care of myself, whether it's eating differently. I haven't quite made it to the gym yet, but I have started walking. I walk the dog, but I have created a space in my back porch that is just my space where I
Mhm.
can just go out there and I love nature, just breathe and just kind of exhale,
Yeah.
do my meditation and just exhale all the worries, any stresses of the day. Creating that space to journal, to read, has been a game changer.
If we were to look at your life a year ago, let's just go back 1 year,
Mm.
just one. Now, I don't know if you brought your Kleenexes because I know how you are. But go ahead and just, tell your little folk, bring them on because you're not going to make me cry either. I got
Oh,
mine though, just in case. But when I reflect, and I'm gonna make this
mhm.
personal so that you can do what you do. When I reflect on 1 year, I go, God, you are amazing.
Yeah,
It's hard for me to believe that you've done what you've done, but that's who he is,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So he was waiting on you to do what you needed to do, which was the fasting and the praying and all those. And you stepped up into a term, and I'm going to use it as Mama Bear. Mama Bear.
I know. I became the mama bear of the group.
If you wanted something to be said out loud, you just go and tell Regina. And here's Regina walking down the hall, and she's taking care of the situation. She had that significant power, and to watch her then become Mama Bear and use it towards your own journey.
Yeah, I had the mama bear myself.
Mama Bear said. And you remember one time we were talking, and I said, "Well, what would you tell Kayla?" I said, "If Kayla was in this situation, what would you do?"
Absolutely. And I said, "Ooh, you didn't have to go there.
I
Okay."
went, bam,
But
all the
you
way.
you were absolutely right.
Mhm.
Absolutely right. What would I tell my daughter?
What would you tell your daughter?
Yeah. And there's no way. No, I would tell her you got to pour into yourself and really believe in yourself and don't let outside chatter define you. And
Mhm.
then so yeah, you checked me.
That was your defining moment, actually.
It was. It really was. But I'll take it a further back, say 2 years.
Mm. I was hoping we wouldn't go there, but I'm going to let you do it.
2 years, and talk about my testimony 2 years ago. God shut me down. He said, "You're going to sit down for real." And I ended up in the hospital from stress, you know. And I remember being in the hospital and, and just trying to get it together. And that was a time where I was just like, wow, okay, some things you're going to have to let go.
Right.
Some things you're going to have to do better. You're going to have to make some better decisions in terms of, just taking care of you. We as women, we take care of everybody.
Right.
The year before, I had taken care of everybody in my family.
Right.
And I had poured into everybody that I had nothing left to pour on myself.
Right.
And it took a toll. It took a toll on my body. And, after spending some time in the hospital, and again, I used that time, I prayed. Um, and again, God showed up in a way that blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Again, He knew what I needed. We were actually in a process of looking for a new home. And I share, with everyone, I said, I told God, this is what I want. I want X, Y, Z, A, B, C. And He said, okay. He showed me exactly what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So the day I got out of the hospital, we went to go look. We met the realtor there. We went to go look at the house. It was everything I wanted, even down to the color, everything. And I walked up and I said, this isn't it. It didn't feel right. And I remember I couldn't really walk. So I was on a walker, and I remember turning, and diagonal was a house that was still being built. And I said, ooh. And I said to the realtor, can we see that? And she said, yeah. And I remember when my husband and I walked into the house, and as soon as we walked through the door, we were like, this is it. And so God knew, He listened to what I wanted, but He showed me what I needed.
Right.
So there was my space, that back porch that got screened in. There was a space for my husband to have his, his little man cave. Mm-hmm. It's out in the country, all this clean air, the birds. I didn't know I needed that, but He did. He knew what I needed.
He did. And can we just stay there for just a second? Because we often think that we know everything about what we need. And we need to embrace the fact that He knows more about us than we think.
He knows everything about us.
Yeah. So when you surrender, which is exactly what you did, you just surrendered.
Yeah. And that looks different. One surrender could be me on my knees crying. Another surrender could just be me sitting there. It looks different, but the key is listening and really truly surrendering, not trying to micromanage God.
Well, how did you find the courage? Because if you're somebody who's accustomed to taking care of everybody else, how did you find the courage to bring that energy back to you? How did you do that? Excuse me, one more thing, without feeling selfish.
I struggled with that. I'll be fully transparent. I struggled with the feeling of being selfish. Okay, I got to still do this and do that, make lunches, wash clothes. No. And it really was just a moment of just sitting and just reflecting and saying, it's okay. Giving myself permission to be okay with just taking care of myself. And that feeling, that release of that guilt. Mm-hmm. And my kids were older. It would have been different if they were small, because when they were smaller, mm-hmm. It was them first. Them, husband, dog, everybody first. But mm-hmm. now that they're older, I had to let go of trying to be accountable for their lives. They're old enough now that, I got to let them go and still be there, but kind of let them go. But it was okay for me to now, I had to take care of myself. It was a life or death situation.
Right. But we don't often realize how much stress we're under until you end up in a situation where you're actually in the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people still now don't understand how much stress they're under. They're trying to deal with it. What can you say to that person who's trying to be super duper everything?
Have grace. Give yourself grace.
Give yourself grace.
Give yourself grace.
What does that mean? What does give yourself grace? What does that mean to you?
Not feeling guilty and being okay with being okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just releasing the need, that control, that need to want to be everything and everybody's be all, end all and be all,
Mhm, mhm,
and giving yourself grace that you're not going to get it right all the
mhm.
time.
Right.
And it's
And
okay.
yeah, and be still.
And be, oh, absolutely be still. Absolutely. And when I say be still, I don't mean just physically sitting, getting off the phone, turning off the TV, and just really being still, not doing 50 million things while, no, like truly just being still. And I don't think a lot of people know how to do that. I know it was hard for me,
It's not easy.
you
It's
know.
not easy to be still. And Regina, we got separated for a while where I was not around you.
Yeah.
Well, I
Hmm.
went and was reporting to someone else, and it was a little bit of a difficult situation for me. And I want to
Hmm.
say thank you publicly for being there for me during that time.
Yeah. I saw you look away that I'd never seen you look before. And I knew you were not all right.
I cannot
Yeah.
explain to you how wonderful it was to see you and another coworker walk through the door. No matter what, you were always there, and you always celebrated my birthdays.
Yes.
You know, and made sure I had flowers. And one time I had so much chocolate, I'm like, what am I doing? But I needed that.
Yeah.
In the situation that I was in, that was the most chaotic I'd been in a long time,
Yeah.
having you. So I want to say publicly, thank you so much to all the world, whoever tunes in. If you ever find someone who can help you navigate through the storm like that. And I know it was God, because I had to be Christian and holy and not, act all stupid and stuff. I wanted to. Some days I wanted to be someone else, but there's
Right.
that time when God, just like I did with you, where he says, you need to be still. I've got something else for you, but you can't get there unless you do it my way.
Right. Well, you know what they say is when you pour into others, it gets poured back into you, and you
Right.
poured into me. When I went through that a very difficult time, in particular with my daughter, and that was a very dark time. And I remember you listened to my cries, and and you,
And I did.
um,
I prayed
yeah,
for you.
yes, you stood in the gap because
Mhm.
I wasn't in no place, in no way able to do that. So you poured into me, and then in return, you know, it just was natural.
And I needed that. I really needed that. It was a dark moment,
Right.
but we got through it. And next thing you know, we're back together again. I'm
I
like,
know.
how in the world does that happen? And I look up towards heaven and I
Yeah.
go, you have a plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have a real plan. But now he didn't tell me at this particular point you probably wouldn't be here. He didn't tell me. He didn't, give me. But I love the fact that both of us are learning how to be obedient
Yes. Yes.
and to be
Yes.
the role models that he wants us to be. We're going to have to come back and talk again. I always ask my guests, will they come back? But I'm hoping that you're going to come back.
Oh, absolutely.
There's so many things going on with folks right now who don't understand the supernatural power of obedience
I know.
and surrender.
Yeah.
And it's taken away something from them that God never intended to be taken away.
Mm-hmm.
So the minute both you and I'm not talking about just me, you just said, here, take this. Look at you with a new attitude and a new job and a new this and a new that. Have you taken a look at all the list of things that God has done because of your surrender
Yes. I thank him every day.
every day?
Every day. I'm just so extremely grateful. Just so grateful.
Yeah.
Um, I get so filled when I just think about like where I could have been and how he kept me. Um, my son is graduating from college next week. I'm so proud, and you know, he's not. I don't have worries that some other mothers may have. Where they're staying up and they just can't sleep, and I'm just so grateful for that. I'm just grateful for just every opportunity, And again, I always say, why me? Why me? But I'm just so extremely grateful.
But you're living the life that God intended. And I want to go back just a little bit because I know we run out of time. Often we think that the harsh times are based on something that we've done. And it may really be a part of the plan to grow us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know for me, when I was in that moment where I wasn't very happy with my vocation, let's put it that way,
Right.
I needed to grow.
Yeah.
And I think if anything else, you can say the same thing. It was hard, but it grew you. It was hard, but it transformed you. It was difficult, but it helped you find your footing and find your God.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, I cannot stress how grateful I am.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah, we
cannot
can't
stress
tell
it.
we can't tell it all. She got blessed in so many different ways until I'm scratching my head. But I like hanging around people like that because then your faith grows.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when
Absolutely.
you start hanging around people, if you can, of course, 7:31 p.m. and I'm not going to stop preaching. If you cannot become a Saul and be jealous of like the David, he was jealous of David. If you cannot be jealous, God can do great things with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't be jealous. If someone else is there, hang out with them. Figure out how it was done.
Applaud them.
Applaud them.
Applaud them.
Because the last thing that God can bless you just like He can bless me.
Absolutely.
So stop hating.
I'm sorry, my dog is sitting here trying to be on camera.
Okay, let's introduce your dog because this dog is special.
Hi, say hi, Ozzy.
Well, hello, Ozzy. Is this the old man Ozzy?
This is old man Ozzy.
This is old man, and you talk about loving some Regina Nickson. Well, Ozzy, you have just made your date. You're a cutie. How are
It
you?
never bothers me. And he's sitting here trying to jump up.
He's trying to protect you.
Yeah.
Trying to make sure he
He's
has
trying to see.
always been your protector.
Yes. Yes, he has. Yes. Yes. So when I had that bout when I needed to go to the hospital and I was home, my dog was the only one there with me. And when I couldn't walk and I had to crawl to the couch, my dog crawled with me and laid on my chest until they were able to come home. So yeah, this my old man Ozzy.
Ozzy's like, I want to know who you're talking to. I want
Yes.
to know who's out there. I want to know, and I want them to know that I love my mommy.
Yeah.
Well, Ozzy, nice to meet you. I've heard a lot about you.
Okay, now you
So
can
thank you for making your debut. So Regina, I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you professionally. I'm proud of you emotionally, mentally, spiritually. What we have been through together since 2017. We can't tell it all in 30 minutes. But you know what we can do? We can actually encourage someone else.
Absolutely.
We want to do that wherever we are. We want to be an encouragement, and I'm starting to feel better now. About you. Not being there. I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to feel like, you know what, God, when I trust you, great things happen. Look at my friend.
And I just want people to know, trusting in him and trusting in yourself. And sometimes you got to step out. You got to close your eyes and just step out on faith.
Yeah. And you know what else you did that you probably didn't know? You pulled off the mask.
Yes. I remember that show. Yes.
We talked about masks, but you pulled off the mask.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you did not put it back on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hung up my Superwoman cape too.
And you did. Well, you thought you were going to leave that one behind, but I threw that one in the trash can. I'm like, nobody's going to look that. Bam, done. Right. So that room, we've already made sure that it doesn't have all of those Superwoman kind of whatever going on. But
not going to do that.
I trust God. I trust God that He is going to do greater things for you. I think this is just the beginning. And look at the example that you are for your family, your daughter, for other people. As you will continue to be obedient, we're going to have more stories to tell.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You're going to have more stories to tell, but I'm happy for you. I am excited for you. I miss you every day, but I don't have to talk to you.
I know. I'm so happy to see you, though.
I haven't seen you. I feel like I haven't seen you in years. But you need to know that I'm good.
I could see that.
You need to know that I'm good, and I'm being just as obedient as you are.
And I knew you would be good.
Yeah. So I'm happy. It takes a long time to find someone like you. But I tell you, I'm proud of you, and I'm glad we're walking together. I know they're getting close to our time, and we're going to have to bring this train into the station. So what do we say every week? I say you have to trust the process. And Regina, you are an example of trust in the process.
Absolutely.
And right on Saturdays, every Saturday, I always forget this, but every Saturday at 2:00, we have a replay of this show. And what I love about when God does something, this show itself is a whole conversation about how God moves and how we need to be obedient. But every Saturday at 2:00, you'll have a replay. However, right after the show airs, one can immediately watch it. I have a lot of my folks who have Bible study at 7, but they're on at 8 watching the show because they know God's going to do something for them and they're going to be transformed. You are the example of the transformation process and and you trusted it in order for God to transform you. So now we have to encourage everybody else as we pull this train into the station that they have to trust the process. In order for God to do his perfect work in your life, you got to trust him. And I'm going to tell you one more thing. I probably have about one more minute. This is another show. Stop worrying about people who are hating on you because God is blessing you.
Absolutely.
No, stop it. Tell them to go and do what you do and be obedient. God will bless them. We have to turn off our ears and off our emotions. I learned that even this weekend, and off our senses in order to say, okay, God, you have me here for a reason. Let's go for it. So that's all I have to say tonight, Regina. It's so good to see you. Miss you every day.
Miss you too.
But I know where you live.
All right, miss you on the team.
Very good. So thanks you everybody for joining us tonight. My dear friend Regina Nickson, I'm so proud of her. God's doing great things in her life. She's a great example of what happens when you surrender and trust the process. So everybody, we'll see you next week. We'll see you on Saturday and bring your friends. And then we'll see you next week for another episode of the Power of Transformation. We have some more stories for you. Who knows? You might see Regina back next week. You don't know. All right. Take care. See you later. Thank you so much, Regina. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.